Hi, and welcome back to Life Changing Solutions Live, segment number 4. We had so much fun earlier.
Yes, we did.
I'm like, hey, Brad, can you just stick around? And because again, we share a lot of like the same values and just beliefs when in different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I'm always talking about, and it's like I really found that passion in parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually say that I work for children, not with children.
Right.
And I really think it's because, you know, if you get to the parent, that's going to make a bigger impact on the child. And so, as I mentioned, like you and I kind of share that same belief.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I had my counseling center, it was very common for a parent to say, hey, fix my kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced that.
Of course, all the time, every week.
And it's like, and for me, I'd be like, okay. All right, so obviously there's some dynamics here that are not working,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but let's kind of take a bigger picture and like a deeper cut, you know, into what can be happening.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that was also in the parenting or the lack of parenting
Right.
skills.
Yeah.
And because again, I don't want to make parents wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I found that the best way was to approach the parents, and that would then alleviate whatever symptoms the child was experiencing.
Right.
So I don't know.
Sure, yeah, when I work with a family in therapy, if they come to me with a parenting issue, their teenagers acting out, or there's, you know, aggression or whatever may be happening, lack of responsibility, I want to bring the child in, the teenager in, the kid, I guess, in to get to know where they're at, what they're thinking, what they're telling me about the family and what's happening. And I usually spend more time with the parents, maybe even separate from their child.
And something that I would do too is, and I don't know if this is a common practice or not, but, you know, legally speaking, especially in a therapeutic relationship, the guardian can know what's going on in a session with a child. But I would always ask the parent, if I am working directly with a child, that they give up that right, you know, or, you know, if there's something that you need to know, if there's any like biggies, we can discuss it together. But to also create that relationship with the child, and they have them trust me to be able to share and, you know, that. So do you do something like that at all?
Sure, yeah. In fact, you know, the most important thing for me is that their child is engaged with me. I just want them to talk with me, to feel safe and come in. And once I just get them engaged, we can go from there and choose what route to take. But sometimes I just hear the kids complain about their parents so empathetically. They go home and say, "Oh, well, Brad said that you're a bad mom," or something like that. And that's not the case. I'm not going to tell them that you're a bad parent, but I just want them to know I hear you, I validate where you're coming from, and I'm working for you. I'm not hired here by your parent to fix you. I want you to come in and let's fix the family. Let's figure out what's happening in the process, like we talked about in the earlier segment.
And it's important to go back and forth, especially if you're going to be working with the parent or with the family unit and whatever makeup that may be, because right now family is just huge, and that's a whole other topic.
Yes, it is.
But bringing it back into parenting, it's like that's the reason I brought up working with kids and what we may say. They're going to have their own interpretation of things. So as you said, they may come home and be like, oh yeah, Brad said you're a bad mom. No, it doesn't quite work that way. And if there's ever an issue, like, we would bring you in, parents, and have like that discussion.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to parenting, it's like, what are some of the biggest things that you find that are not working in the parent-child relationship?
First of all, the thing that comes to mind, I think, is rescuing. You know, the parent rescuing. You hear about helicopter parents. I think that concept was made kind of famous by the Love and Logic, Foster Cline and Jim Fay. They talk about that in their book, Parenting with Love and Logic. But parents who are hovering, they're looking into their 17-year-old's phone and those kind of things. And while there needs to be supervision, and while there needs to be, you know, monitoring of things, sometimes parents, I think, have this codependent drive to have control of everything, and their son or daughter is just struggling with finding their place and developing their identity. And it's hard to do when parents are controlling every aspect, including what they wear and those kind of things. That rescuing, hovering stuff, I think, is probably the worst thing that I see with parenting.
And it's so funny because, again, as we mentioned, it's like you were like such an influence on me, and one of them is I became a Love and Logic facilitator.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things that, like, yeah, you're speaking into the hovering, and I still like really take away and use is what they say about paying your prices, the Walmart prices, like allowing your children to make the mistakes right now. And that's where, like, we as parents are here to, like, have those bumper guards, right? Like, we're going to catch them if they fall, but let them know, learn through their own experiences. I even, when I do my parenting classes, I say, realistically, I don't know a kid or a person who hasn't burned themselves on the stove.
Right.
And it wasn't the no, or you're going to hurt or whatever that taught the child. It was them. Usually what happens is the kid wants to touch the stove. The parent's like, no, it's going to, it's hot, whatever. Yeah. And finally the parent's like, screw it. Oops.
Yeah.
And that's what taught them.
Yeah.
The experience of getting burned is really what taught them. And then you as a parent are there to be like, not, I told you so, not, it's just like, okay, now you get to teach them that that's what you meant.
Yeah. We don't learn by lectures and reminders and those kind of things. We learn by experience. And sometimes we do have to learn things the hard way. I was in a grocery store one time and just picked up a conversation with this older lady, kind of my grandmother's age type of person, if you can picture. And I said something about, I learned that lesson the hard way. And she said, honey, that's how all lessons are learned, the hard way. And I think so many times that's true. And kids need to fail. Teach them what they should do and shut up and let them fail. Mm-hmm. That's mind-blowing for some people when they hear me say that. And failure is an important part of success, actually.
And it is important. And it's like, because here's the thing too, it's like, and it seems counterintuitive, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so mean or harsh. It's not that we're rooting for our children to fail, it's that we're giving them permission to.
Right.
And so that way, because a lot of people, there's that failure to thrive, because fear and failure, often come so like intertwined, that if they become comfortable with that, they also learn how to become resilient. They also learn how to, be able to pick themselves back up and say, okay, well, I failed, I tried, what's next? And keep moving, versus having this like negative feeling and being all wonky about it around failure. Mm-hmm. So as you were saying, failure is it's a big component of success. So essentially, I guess, like, the takeaway right now really is letting your kids fail and learn based on their mistakes, right? Allowing them to pay the big price, and don't hover over them.
Right.
Constantly checking their phones. I don't know. What else do parents do? It cracks me up.
Just, trying to put them in situations to catch them lying and those kind of things. And kids are going to lie. And the hard thing about that is we can't enforce certain things. We can't enforce honesty necessarily. And as kids get older, and we're unable to enforce the things we're telling them, it makes us look foolish when we pretend that we're in charge. And so sharing control is one of the concepts that I think is important for kids. And really, if they want, I think they should have all the responsibility and the freedom of young adults. And sometimes that means that we buzz out of their business a little bit, let them have some privacy, and we still maintain the expectations about things they need to do. Another big one is contributions. I like that term instead of chores or whatever, that kids need to be contributing. Mm-hmm. My 2-year-old feeds my pit bull. He'll go and get diapers. He can do things to contribute. He can throw this in the garbage can. Right. And he's tuned into little things like that. And my older boys do all kinds of things. But kids need to be contributing. We got too many consumers and not enough producers, and that starts at home.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too. And it's like, and I love that. And again, that could be a whole other segment. But it's just like, I think a big takeaway for this segment as well is reminding parents that kids are little people. Mm-hmm. Different personalities, different, interpretations and behaviors and all that stuff. So it's like when we try to control them, we're only driving ourselves nuts as parents, right? Because it's impossible to control anybody else, even our children. Yes. So it's a, losing battle if you really try to, really fit your kids, especially if you have multiple children, into a box. Like, you're just going to drive yourself nuts. Yeah. So just stop. That's what I say.
Stop it.
Stop it, right. And just, love your kids. Let them be who they are. And let them fail. And really do, encourage them to be contributors in your home and whatever it is that they can do. Everybody can do something. As you said, your 2-year-old can throw something away. I used to have my kids splashing the water, doing the dishes, but in their minds they were contributing,
Right.
into the home. So it's like there's different ways that you can do, or different things that you can do to really create like this harmonious home.
Yes.
Well, and time did run out.
Yes.
Oh, the clock is like stopped. So thank you so much, Brad,
Thank
for
you.
being
I
here.
appreciate being here. Wow, this is awesome.
Right, it's like super exciting. And as he said, he'll be back. So
I will be back.
look for him, bradsingletary.com. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
So hello, this is Dr. Robin Donaldson, and we are watching Solace Show, which is where we get to talk about grief and death and dying and all the really fun things that nobody really wants to talk about. With me in the studio today is Dr. Annie Weissman. She is the Director of Wellness and Integrative Medicine at the UNLV School of Medicine. So thank you so much, Dr. Weissman, for joining me today. It is a privilege and an honor to have you on the show. And we posted all the information of your background, but I don't think that most